He is a second-term U.S. representative from Minnesota's 5th District and is the first Muslim in the U.S. Congress. Please welcome the Honorable Keith Ellison. Congressman, how you doing tonight?
Hanging in there, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So you're all put together now. I saw you yesterday. Yeah. You were very, very emotional, and I think people were with you. Did you watch the Congressman yesterday? And I'm not usually a fan of public crying or even the way the Miami Heat do it, but I was with you yesterday. So you testified, of course, about Congressman Peter King's looking into the radicalization of American Muslims. Let's get first to what we agree on. I would say, and I think you would too, that one, there are elements of McCarthyism in that. Two, that there are other terrorist problems in this country besides the Muslim problem, and perhaps most troubling, that a hearing like this causes the thing it is trying to prevent. Would you agree with all that?
We're on the same page so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember vividly when you went on Glenn Beck's show, and the first thing he said to you was, "Sir, tell me why I should think you're not with the enemy."
Yeah, he did that.
Yeah. And how'd you, what, I mean, I don't want to make you cry again.
No,
but,
I'm well composed right now.
Okay. But, I mean, what does a thing like that make you do or feel?
Well, you know, that one surprisingly made me laugh. You know, I didn't get particularly emotional about that one. It was absurd and ridiculous. And, but it, you know, the fact is that Glenn Beck, I know that I know he's potentially dangerous, I believe. But he also is somewhat ridiculous and comical. But hearings like this, congressional hearings, are very serious and have the potential to do real damage. So I think just a lot of the things that came together at the hearing, particularly meeting Talat Hamdani, who was sitting right there in the hearing room, and, you know, really kind of, I don't know, brought the emotion spiking at that point.
All right. So, but let me ask you this. Peter King, his title is Chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee.
Yeah.
You would agree that this is his job. I mean, he did quote a trend, which I think is true, that between May of 2009 and November 2010, there were more arrests made of jihadist terror plots than in the previous 7 years. He said Al-Qaeda is recruiting from the Muslim community. If they were recruiting from the Irish community, I'd look into that. He's doing his job badly, but this is what the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee should do, broadly?
Yes, and then I said that in my testimony as well, that it is the business of the Homeland Security Committee to engage violent extremism, no matter what religion or ideology it may happen to be driven by. So I don't question that. But I do, but he used the Irish example. Well, you know, I don't think you investigate the Irish. You investigate, you know, the IRA, perhaps. You investigate the mafia, but not Italians. You investigate the Ku Klux Klan, but not Christians. I mean, that is the heart of my objection, is that he casts an extremely wide net and therefore basically undermines what he says he's trying to do, which is...
And what about his... What about his claim that 80 to 85% of mosques in America are controlled by radical imams? Where is he getting this information, and what percentage of mosques do you think are controlled by radical imams?
Well, it's an absurd claim. He can't back it up. And you asked me where he's getting it. I have no idea. And he has not come forth and said where he received this figure from. As a matter of fact, he had an excellent opportunity to call a witness who could testify to the authenticity of that statistic, but he didn't. You know, he didn't call any law enforcement witnesses at all. The only law enforcement witness came from the minority caucus, the Democrats, Sheriff Lee Baca, who did a fine job, but the people he called told emotional and important stories about family members who had been radicalized, but no facts that you can build policy around. So the numbers he's throwing around are bogus. But what I find is that, you know, it's common for people to throw around baseless statistics. And then when people say prove it, they changed the subject, and that's exactly what he did.
Yeah, he did not call anybody from the FBI, the CIA,
Nobody.
or
Justice.
Homeland Security. He teabagged this committee is really, I think, the way to put it. And, you know, as someone I am a citizen who's interested in the answer to this question. I didn't get it because I would have liked to heard from those agencies, you know, the people who are actually working on the problem.
Right.
Okay, so we agree he's an asshole. But let's talk about you. I didn't know this before I was reading this. You were not raised in the Islamic religion. You converted as a young man. I didn't even know you went to prison. No, I'm joking about that. But
College, Bill, college.
I know, college. But I mean, as someone who was also raised Catholic and have gotten rid of that, why did you switch brands?
You know what? I can't claim that I was ever the most devout practicing Catholic. I was raised in a Catholic household, went to a Catholic school, went to all-boys Catholic high school, Detroit, UAD High School, go Cubs. But, you know, I just was looking for, I was interested in social justice, social change when I got on campus. And I found people who were working on those things, like the anti-apartheid struggle and things like that. Happened to also, some of them were Muslim. And, you know, I went to the mosque one day. I liked what I heard about a message of inclusion, social justice, all races, all colors in the room. And I started investigating, and I've been a Muslim since I was 19. So it works for me. I do believe that religious pluralism is a key component of the human experience, at least it should be, and that we need to have respect for the people who are believers and non-believers. I have proud to represent a group of people in my district who are non-theists, and whenever we have interfaith roundtables, we invite them too, because we think they have important things to contribute to the dialogue.
Right on. So let me get to the part where I think you may not agree with me, which is I do agree that there are other groups that pose a terrorist threat to this country. There are right-wing militias who are nutty, and the Ku Klux Klan, and abortion bombers, and Timmy McVeigh types. I would say that the threat potentially from radicalized Muslims is a unique and greater threat. It is the greatest threat. Let me give you the reasons why I jotted down why. One, it's been going on 1,000 years, this problem between Islam and the West. We are dealing with a culture that is in its medieval era. It comes from a hate-filled holy book, the Quran, which is taken very literally by its people. They are trying to get nuclear weapons. I don't think Tim McVeigh would ever have tried to get a nuclear weapon, because I think right-wing nuts, they think they love this country, and they are not trying to destroy this country. They want to get it away from the people they see as hijacking it. That's different than Muslim extremists who want to destroy it. And also it's a culture of suicide bombing, which is hard to deter from people who want to kill themselves.
Well, I tell you, Bill, I think that you should investigate this issue a little more, because I think that you're lumping together things that shouldn't be lumped together, and you're casting a very wide net and therefore coming to the wrong conclusions. First of all, when you talk about they're trying to get nuclear weapons, are you referring to Iran? Who are you talking about?
Al-Qaeda? I think anyone who is influenced by Al-Qaeda and the statements of Osama bin Laden, and that's...
but Muslims aren't. I mean, there's 1.4 billion Muslims in the world.
Of course, no one is disputing that the vast, giant majority of Muslims are not the problem. We're talking about a very small percentage, but it just takes one. That's what we're talking about when we're talking about terrorism. And obviously, there is something that is going on that they're getting from the Quran. Have you read Sam Harris's book, The End of Faith?
They're not getting it from the Quran. Bill, I'm glad. Let's use this point for a moment, because as you know, as a student of religion, their books are complex. They're compiled, and taking them out of context is a very easy thing to do.
I've heard this many times, and I don't buy it. I'm sorry.
Well,
Sam Harris says, on almost every page, the Quran instructs observant Muslims to despise non-believers.
That's absurd, ridiculous,
and he quotes it. Am I getting the wrong translation? Because that's what every Muslim always tells me.
No,
really?
You must be. I would recommend...
A lot of bad translations then.
Well, why don't you read the part where it says that anyone who takes a life is as if he killed the whole world, and anyone who saves a life is as if he saved the whole world. What about the one where it says that there be no compulsion in religion and that it's literally wrong?
Well, then where are the terrorists getting their instructions from? They're getting it from something else.
Like any ideologue, they will take things out of context to do what they want to do. If you listen to terrorist rhetoric, Bill, what they do is they cite politics. They cite political grievances. They don't really use too much religion. As a matter of fact, when you find Muslims who reject terrorism, as I do and almost everyone does, it often is for spiritual and religious reasons and moral reasons. But when people want to justify it, they justify it on political reasons. This is well documented. Check out the Gallup poll. Check out people who've studied this stuff. One of the things that I think we can do to undermine terrorist ideology is actually to use people who know the Quran and to go after people like Anwar al-Awlaki who misquote it, misuse it, and don't really understand it.
So I hope that happens. All right. Thank you for joining us, Congressman. I appreciate your time.